What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 84 show. I am Arty 84, host of this brand new program we were starting here on the Maxwell Sports Network. Of course, you've seen me here before. You've seen me with several shows, several varietals, if you will, of shows we've done over the years, including the ID 84 show, which we have decided to kind of stop and kind of start something fresh and new. We've been doing the ID 84 show since roughly 2005, I believe. It's 2005. Yeah, it was since WIRE at my college radio station back there. We started the ID 84 show back then. And it's been a variety show of everything. We talked about sports, we've talked about politics, and we've talked about current events. And this show will be no different. In fact, will be about the same, but we're just trying to change the pace a little bit because here's the problem. People will go and search the ID84 show, and not that there's anything wrong with archived shows, but we have like 500 episodes over the course of the last 15 years. And, nothing much really changes about it, but it just, we'll mix it up a little bit here. This show is going to be a tad more serious than the shows in the past, formative, if you will, and entertaining if we can. And we're going to try to do all through it, and we're going to try to make it happen for you listening out there, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listen to us like on Apple Music, whatever like that. Either way, we'll be entertaining you guys one way or another. Hopefully, is the key word on it. So thank you guys for coming in and listening. It's Friday, and it's the end of the week. We made it. Congratulations to everyone out there. And if you have to work this weekend, I'm sorry. And your weekend is probably over at this point. So, nevertheless, here we are. And it's been a hell of a week. It's been a rough week for the United States of America and for the world, for that matter. We've had a lot of situations going on and a lot of problems and a lot of bad things have happened. In the course of the last 2 weeks, I have witnessed video of 5 different people die live, or live on tape, I should say. And it is terrible. And it is not anything to brag about, not anything to want to keep seeing. And a lot of it was done accidentally. You know, you turn on X and you start swiping through, and a video starts playing, and it hadn't been taken down or hadn't been censored or anything. And here you are with just horrific footage of something you didn't want to see. I remember, 2 weeks ago when the footage of the truck driver in Florida taking the illegal U-turn, and basically a minivan with 3 people inside of it didn't even have a chance. They went crashing right underneath the truck, and their lives ended instantly. It was instant death right there. Followed by the poor girl down in North Carolina on the train in Charlotte, North Carolina, and horrific stabbing after her shift at work for no apparent reason whatsoever. She was just taking the train. She literally got on the train, and her life ended minutes after. And then, of course, the shooting of Charlie Kirk a few days ago as well. All these horrific incidents, horrific things that have happened caught live on tape, and for everyone to see. And you hope as a human race we don't become numb to these things, because these aren't things the human body are wired to see. We're not meant to see this. We're not meant to take each other's lives. When another person takes another person's life, there is a severe miswiring going on in that person's brain. And it's not normal, and it's a mental illness. And that is the key thing we have to explore as a country, as a species of humans. It doesn't matter where we're from. It doesn't matter where we live. It doesn't matter how old we are, our social bracket. It doesn't matter. We're all humans. We're all children of God, if you will. And we're never meant to be in a situation in which we're taking another child of God's life. It was never meant to be that way. And there was a severe problem. And we could talk about it 100 times. Oh, it's the gun issue. It's this issue. It's that issue. It's none of these issues. The main issue is the mental illness in this way. And this goes for both political sides. This is not just Democrats. This is not just Republicans. This is both sides have to come out with a solution to stop this and end this. Now, we dance a fine line when we talk about mental illness because we obviously don't want us to have a bad day or had said something that was taken off topic or out of content online and immediately make us look like we are mentally ill, right? We don't want people showing up to our houses, pulling us out because of something we said and throwing us into a mental institution. Of course not. But what we do want is the ability for someone who needs this help to get the help. The ability of someone in your family is aware of someone in their family that has an issue. They can reach out and they can get this person help before we come to incidents like this, before we have these school shootings, before we have these executions of people. This is a preventable thing if we nip it in the bud, and we have to figure out a way to get these people help before it's too late. Okay. And how do we do this? How do we do this as a society without being, you know, a sense of people coming door to door checking you out or doing these tests and stuff? Now, it's a funny. I wouldn't say funny. It's more of an ironic thing. So, last couple weeks, I believe it was either the state of Illinois, I believe it was the state of Illinois, had come up with this thing where they want to cycle evaluate children going into the schools. Okay. And there's a lot of pushback by this because, a lot of parents in one way would say, well, we don't want our kids to, we don't trust the people doing the evaluation, essentially, right? I think that's the majority of it. Or we don't trust what their evaluation outcome is, right? And we don't want kids to be classified as having a mental illness or something of that nature, and they don't, and they're misdiagnosed, or the school has an agenda. This goes way back to us not having trust in the government. And, there's always been doubts of trust in the government for years and years and years, whether it's municipal, state, or federal. And people kind of were like, well, it's the government. What are you going to do? And then COVID hit, and the mass shutdowns and restrictions and not allow us to do things and say things and all this made us realize as a society that, well, this government has way too much power and they overstepped their boundaries. And they did during COVID, and they lost the distrust of all the people who basically live in this society, right? For the most part. I mean, there's some people who still buy into it and thinking that the government's okay, 100% legit, but they may have something wrong with them if that's the case to think, because it's clearly not the case. That's not how it's run. So us losing trust in the government will make parents not want the state of Illinois to evaluate their children to see if they have some kind of mental illness. But at the same time, an evaluation like that would be beneficial to prevent incidents and situations like that happen in school shootings, like this crazy person that assassinated Charlie Kirk, the crazy guy on the train in Charlotte, North Carolina. These things maybe could have been prevented if someone would do an evaluation on them. So where do we start the evaluations? How do we do the evaluations to people? How do we are able to get these people help? Because obviously, if you're a mental illness, you're not getting help yourself, right? You're incapable of getting help yourself. That's part of your problem, right? And we need to find a solution to this, because otherwise this stuff's going to keep on happening over and over again. Here we are in 2025, and we can see a very strong correlation over the last 25 years with all these crazy incidents that have been going on. Okay. So we can go back into a little time machine and go back to like 1999 at the Columbine shooting. That was one of the first school shootings that ever happened. And it actually, me personally, affected me because I was a freshman in high school at the time. And we have never, ever, prior to this moment, even comprehended something like this would happen. We would never think someone would come into our school and perform an act like those two guys did in Columbine in 1999. And it happened. And for us, all students in the world, parents in the world, now looked at the situation as, is this something we're really going to have to deal with now? Is this something we're going to have to do and have to try to prevent from happening again? And it happens year after year. I mean, the same day Charlie Kirk got shot, there was a school shooting next state over in Colorado, right? And this is happening way too much. And unfortunately, it's happening so quite often that when people post about certain things, it's oh, you posted about this, but you didn't post about that. Yeah, we didn't post about this because this is becoming a norm. It's not a good norm. It's not a norm anyone wants. No one wants to just be like, oh, there was another school shooting today. Well, what are we going to do about it? No one wants that to happen. Of course not. That's outrageous. And to think that people post about one thing and don't care about something that important like a school shooting is absolutely absurd. And you need your head evaluated if that's the case. Because I don't know one person on this planet that thinks school shootings are okay. That's just outrageously to say and to even to entertain that idea online. Now, I could go through my social feeds on all the social media platforms for hours and hours and get a good dozen people who think this way. It's outrageous and crazy, and shame on you for even putting that thought on this world, right? Everyone doesn't like this. It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible thing to happen, especially to innocent children that do not deserve that. It's absolutely absurd. And shame on all you people who I know who posted, well, you didn't post about the school shooting today or that and the other thing. No, we were aware of it. Trust me, we know. It's not like we're not understanding it's happening, but what are we going to do about it? As a society, we need to put a stop to this. We need to figure out how to stop this. We really do. And evaluating the mental illness and nipping it in the bud is the way to do it. And like I started saying before, how do we do this? How are we able to stop a crazy person before they're crazy? Okay, so some solutions, some ideas that may have crossed, and we're just kind of brainstorming right here, but things have been kind of bottling up and kind of going through my mind over the last few days. And I'm thinking that, if we use the same mentality they tell us when we're on the subway or we're in a sports arena, if you see something, say something, right? Now, I am willing to bet that any person that commits some kind of crime like this has had patterns in the past. Ones you can look at and be like, whoa, that's a red flag, right? Red flags usually indicate that something is a boiling, something is a happening, and something's going to happen soon or later, but it's going to happen because they don't just act this way. And, what we do is we medicate these people to have these issues, these anxiety issues, these depression issues, right? We medicate them. We give them That's not the solution. Medicating human beings is not putting medicines inside of a human is not natural. It's not right. We weren't built for taking medicines. And all that does is put a Band-Aid on a larger wound. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot. It's not going to work. It may hold back the blood a little bit temporarily, but it's going to keep on flowing, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to do something more extravagant to stop this, right? Medication is not the answer. And in fact, in some cases, the medication actually makes the person worse. It makes them more dependent on this medication. It alters their mind and their body and how they run. Now, don't get me wrong. There are medications that work. There are scientific advances that have done to cure certain diseases, to stop certain from these diseases from happening, some vaccines, if you will, stuff of that nature. But there's a lot of garbage out there that's peddled by people who have a lot of investment in these pharmaceutical companies. And it's plain and simple. Look at every politician, right? Both sides of the table, right? Lots of donors they get, don't they? Lots of those donors are pharmaceutical companies. Why would a pharmaceutical company want to donate to a political figure? Funny you ask. Those political figures pass rules and laws determining what these pharmaceutical companies can essentially do down the future or during current times. There was a big thing back in the 90s when Clinton was president about advertising pharmaceuticals, right? So beforehand, you couldn't have a commercial for any medicine. Maybe Advil and Tylenol, but any medicine that weren't 100% tested and cleared was not allowed to be commercialized on TV. This never happened. And then Clinton had allowed this to happen, and now you go, every other commercial you see during the day is for Viagra, for diabetes, for this, for that. And then it has a laundry list of all these things that could happen to you if you take them. Depression, suicide, a lot of it's depression and suicide. Why would you gamble, and roll the dice on something that could make you even more depressed or suicidal? That's insane to me. Now, I'm a big believer on natural ways to help you, right? Not 100%, okay? This is where I kind of I'm in the middle. I believe there are things you could do naturally to help reduce the effects of, say, diabetes, your weight loss, your depression, right? Maybe you stop drinking. Maybe you cut out the sugars in your life. Cut out the crappy foods in your life, right? Start with vegetables to get a little more organic. Try changing your diet first before you go ahead and start taking medications. Because I strongly think that if you just change the way you eat, you could significantly change the way your body works and is able to run like a well-run car engine or a machine, right? Now, years ago, I was a big soda drinker back in the day. I drank a lot of soda, and I had put on a good amount of weight. My highest weight at one point was like 180 pounds, which is about 25 pounds heavier than I am right now. And my doctor was like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I've been drinking a lot of soda. I was working weird hours. I was eating a lot of junk food. I wasn't paying attention to what I was putting into my body. Now, you wouldn't put, you know, mud into your car engine, right? You put gasoline in it, right? So you got to treat your body like it's a vehicle, and you have to put the right things inside of it. So what I did was I cut out sodas, cut out sugars, cut off junk food for the most part. I still have a couple of cheat things there and there, but for the most part, I'm paying attention to what I'm eating. I'm staying away from stuff that could cause me to have problems. And I lost 25 pounds purely for that. Minor exercising, but mostly it was just cutting out that food. And I'm a big advocate for people who want to lose weight to try to explore their dietary patterns and see if you could do it that way. And a lot has to do with mental health because if your body is working better, you're feeling better, you're mentally more clear too. So if you say you're depressed because you're overweight, well, if you lose that weight, the depression will fade away and you have confidence in yourself. And that's the key too. A lot of these people, a lot of these kids, a lot of these adults that have these mental illness, a lot of these people that do these terrible acts, it has to do with a lot of lack of confidence, a lot of not being accepted into society. People did them wrong and people gave up on them. And that's the problem too. So not only are you medicated, not only are you feeling bad, now society has given up on you as a human. You have no help whatsoever. You're stranded. You're by yourself. And I could see how sometimes your mind could go into this direction and you feel like, I have nothing else to live for, so who cares at this point? And that's sad and terrible and very, very, very in much need of attention. Because like I said, we're all children of God. We all deserve a chance in this life. Some of us have wandered down a wrong path, but there's always a way to get back on there. It's never too late. You can see it all the time when people go to prison and they're in there for so many years and they actually come out and they're reformed and they have a better outlook at life, right? They see what happened. They see they don't have to go through that path anymore, and they see there's light at the end of the tunnel. So if you have people in your life who have issues, please don't give up on them. Try to get them help. And I know they probably don't want the help, and it's going to be tough to get them help, but sometimes you really have to push it. Sometimes it's as simple as just talking to them. With my children, we always say, be the first person to go up to a person playing by themselves. They just started school for the year. Summer's over. That's what we're starting the show. Summer break is done, and here we are back online for you. But my wife and I always say, when you start in school, when you start in class, if there's a child in your class playing by themselves, go up to them, introduce yourself, and make a friend. Because maybe they're shy, maybe they have some social anxiety. Maybe you could be the person that changes the day. Maybe you could be their new best friend. Maybe you could help them. Maybe you could make them feel confident about themselves, right? It's all about that. I was always a big advocate being friends of everyone. I never believed in cliques in school. That was against my thought and process. I was friends of everyone. Whether you want to be my friend or not was up to you. But I was going to be friends with everyone, and that was the way it was going to be. I was never going to isolate someone. I was never going to pick on someone, and I was never going to make someone feel bad about themselves because that's not the way I was raised, and that's not the way I believe society should live. We should give everyone a chance. No one says you have to be friends with A and B just because you're in this particular situation. And I feel like a lot of that will help people. Now, you can say crazy people do have friends. Don't get me wrong, they do. But sometimes They become friends of other crazy people, and then you got really have a problem, right? And you just found a lot of these people who go in these forums online, these online groups and stuff, right? And they're filled with people with the same problems they have filled, but they feel like they're part of a community. And that's not necessarily a good community to be part of. Not whatsoever. Yeah, they have friends, but are they the right friends to have? You know? Like they say, you can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. Just pick the right friends and find friends or find people in your life that could help you. If you're down in the dumps and you're having some issues, you're depressed, it's not the end of the road. There's someone there for you. Text someone, message someone, tell someone how you feel, tell a parent, tell a family member. There's got to be someone you could talk to, a stranger, a bartender. As a bartender for 20 plus years, I've had deep conversations with strangers I've never met before until that night. Powerful conversations. Conversations about death, about how they're feeling, about their jobs, about their life, their relationships. It's something about a bartender that loosens someone up, especially when you're there alone at the bar. No, I'm not saying I'm not advocating for getting drunk all the time, and alcohol is definitely something that could negatively affect you, especially if you have a mental tendency. Absolutely. And maybe it's something you should stay away from. But if you're just a regular person having a bad day and you feel a little depressed and you're having a drink to kind of loosen up a little bit and to relax, talking to a bartender is usually your best bet because they're behind the bar right there and their job is there to keep you company, serve you, make you feel welcome. And I've heard powerful stories. I've heard stories about people who, thought about killing themselves and they stopped. Not nothing I said that stopped them, but we're just kind of talking about it, things they never said before, about their relationships, about their jobs, what direction you should take in life. And the best thing I could do is give them as the best advice as I can give you, depending on the situation. Basically by life experiences and things that I know of that could help them. But the one thing I always say is make sure you find someone you can talk to. Make sure you have that anchor in your life, someone you could always go to when things are bad, right? A best friend, a spouse, a child, a parent, you know? And there are groups out there that you could join, similar to like, for example, like Alcoholics Anonymous is a great group because you have people who are in that group with the same problem or the same challenge that you have. And when people go into a game together with the same end game, and in that case, to stop drinking or prevent drinking, further drinking, you have like-minded people there to help you push forward. When you're falling back a little bit and you're starting to feel like you're going to slip, these people are here to motivate you because they're doing the same exact thing you're doing, and you guys are all in it together. And that's a great thing. And if you're feeling depressed, you should find someone, a group to talk to, of people that feel the same way as you do, because they're going through some stuff too. Maybe you can help them. Maybe your story can help change their mind a little bit and be very, very beneficial to them for all of us. You don't want to go to groups of people online who have the same problems with you and are depressed and no one's helping them. That's not where you want to go. You want to go with people that's someone there to help you. Unfortunately, I don't think that exists very often in this society. I don't think that there are a lot of options for that. You can tell your doctor, you go talk to a psychologist. I have my feelings on psychology, and a lot stems by some incidents and some conversations I've had with psychologists. Now, I feel that maybe in the beginning of the day, they go in for the right reason. They go into a profession where people can talk to them and they can lead them in the right direction. What I don't like are the ones that say, oh, you're having a bad day, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling suicidal, take this pill. It'll make you feel better. I don't want to hear that. No. And I don't like the idea that a lot of times these psychologists are scheduled based, right? How do I know that 3 o'clock on a Friday I'm going to be having a bad day? No, I might be having a bad day at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday and I need someone to talk to. Right? And having a psychologist isn't available. Now they have this app that I never explored yet, but it's like this help app that is like psychologists online on demand type of thing, which is a good start to society to help people. They have the Samaritans hotlines that you see a lot on bridges when you think if you feel like you're gonna jump, you call this number and you can talk to someone. It's a start, right? But the profession of psychology and psychologists by themselves, I think, are hit or miss, to be honest with you. I remember this one conversation I had with a woman who was a psychologist, and it left me very, very not offended, but alarmed. I think is the word. I was alarmed. I was very disappointed with this person. I didn't know this person very well. It was a friend of a friend, and we were having a conversation, and we were talking about what we do for a living and what we do, and some examples of stuff, right? And she had said she was a psychologist, and then she would just be was going off on our clients about they're crazy, they don't know what they do. We just give them medication, hopefully they survive. She was very laissez-faire about her profession and how she is to uh was basically to help people, and she wasn't helping anyone. And I sat there and I go, is this what all psychologists do? Is this how they all feel? Of course not. I don't believe that to be true. But at the same time, there is an example of something I didn't ever heard before from coming from someone who does this for a profession. And it left me a little alarmed, to be quite honest with you. Now, is this the type of woman that when you go talk to her, she kind of writes you off and then just gives you a medication to some kind of medicine and everything's going to be fine and dandy afterwards? I hope not. I hope she's there to help you. I hope she's going to give you some constructive advice. And that's another thing, too. You need someone that can trust you and someone that's not going to just, fluff you. You want someone who's going to give it to you straight and narrow. You have a problem. You should have someone in your life that's going to tell you exactly what to do and how to. And it's not going to be always nice. It's going to hurt a little bit. It may not be what you want to hear. And that's bad. When you just say going to someone because they're going to tell you what you want to hear, that's not helping you whatsoever. That's just further pushing you into a problem, right? It's not the way to go. You want someone who's going to tell you it straight. And it's going to hurt a little bit. It's not going to be nice. Sometimes it's going to hurt, but sometimes it's what you need. It's the push you need to get you going. And whether you listen to that person or not is up to you, but I strongly advise you do if that's the situation you're in, because that will help you. I know a lot of people will talk to people and they want to hear a certain thing. And I know personally that it sucks when you don't hear what you want to hear, right? When other people are looking at your situation from the outside and they can give you a true, honest opinion of what is going on. That's what you need in life. That's the kick in the ass you need to get you going and to push you into that right direction and to help you and to further stop whatever is going on in your life. And if you could do that, that's great. If you have someone in your life like that, thank the Lord, because that is what you need. That's what everyone needs. We need that one person. I hear so many stories where some people have no one, and it's so sad. Be that person for that person that has no one. You want to help. You want to be aggravated on someone, and you want to talk about things all the time, right? Promote things, right? Everyone puts a sign in front of the house, right? I love the signs in front of your house. I'm for this. I'm for that, right? The only signs that should be in your front of your house maybe are for people you're very possibly supporting politically, maybe. Because putting a sign in front of your house will show that you're going to vote for them, and then you can physically actually go vote for them. But if you have signs in front of your house, end this, stop this, believe in this, blah, blah, but you don't do those things, right? You're not physically going out there and helping stop it. You're virtual signaling to everyone that I believe in stopping this thing. But what are you going to do about it? You're not going to do anything about it. I'm pro-immigration. Okay, so if a bunch of immigrants came to your house, you going to let them in, sleep with you, sleep in your house, feed them, find them a job? I doubt it, right? We don't need this virtual signaling. Just do your job. The best examples of charity are the people who just do stuff and don't even put their name on it. People donate money or donate something to something and don't, put themselves, oh, boy, by the way, I let you know I donated $100,000 to this campaign, or I donated this or that right there, and they have to brag about it. No. The best forms of charity are the ones that are unsaid. When you see an anonymous donation for $100,000 was put in for someone, that's what you want to see. That's true charity right there. But if you're the type of person who has to make sure you're getting the recognition for it, that doesn't make you a charitable person. That just makes you someone who is virtual signaling that you're doing this good, right? And it's you see it a lot in Hollywood. A lot of celebrities virtual signal because they feel like that's the thing to do. It's the hip thing to do. We're gonna get on this idea. We're gonna get on this idea, right? No, why don't you go out there and help someone? What I conclude from this episode today, and don't worry, all these episodes aren't going to be preaching and politics. We're going to be talk sports. We're going to talk about current events. But because of the events that happened this week, I felt the need to get on, start the show, and start this whole series of shows, podcasts, video show, whatever you want to call them these days. I don't know what people call them. And I wanted to make sure that I'm expressing something that I'm feel deeply about. And it's the mental illness issue in this country. And if you cure this problem, fix this problem, do something about this problem, you will prevent a lot of these horrific acts that are happening in this country today. Plain and simple. You could put a nice dent in it. You're not going to do it 100%. I promise you. It will not be 100%. Nothing's ever 100%. But a lot of these people who commit these acts, if they got the help beforehand, these things wouldn't have happened. These are sick people with mental illness that need your help. I don't know the solution. I don't have the answers. It's like I said, it's a fine line. You're going to go driving around everyone's house, and if they don't pass an evaluation test, you throw them in the loony bin? No, you're not going to do that. Because there's going to be a lot of people that don't need that level of incarceration. They just need someone to talk. Excuse me. They just need someone to talk to. So be that person to talk to them. You talk to them. You help them. Stop going online saying there's a mental illness problem in this country and not do anything about it. Find someone to talk to. Volunteer or something. I don't know. What can I tell you? Just do. Don't say. That's all I read. It's a mental illness problem. Yeah, no kidding, there's a mental illness. So call your politicians and tell them there's a mental illness. But no, you still vote these same people in every single year. And I'm not saying one party or another. I'm saying both parties are guilty of this. This is a bipolitical issue out there. Okay? We clearly see people with mental illness. There's red flags everywhere. You have to do something about it. You gotta try talking to them. If they're a violent threat or you fear that they could cause a threat, you need to tell the authorities. You need to do something about it. Especially if they're online and they're saying, I'm going to go do this or that and the other thing. Or I'm planning on doing this and the other thing. You need to do something about it before that happens because otherwise the guilt's with you. If you see someone online saying, I'm going to do this or do that, and you don't do anything about it, you don't reach out and say, hey, dude, is everything okay? Or if you don't know the person, maybe, make a note to administrators of that site or something, or, I don't know, screenshot it, give it to a police officer so they could look into it. I don't know. There's grounds for investigation there when someone's threatening someone or threatening to do something, I think, right? It's up to you. It's up to us, it's society. We're not gonna save us. Government's not gonna save us. It's not gonna save us. The less government, the better. Small government. That's why the United States is so great. We have state rights. We're not overwhelmed by one view, one set of rules. We got a base rules that we all have to live by. We have our base rights that we all have. And then each state can break that down and interpret it the way they want. And if you don't like what your state that you're currently in is doing or saying, you can move. Leave the state. Go somewhere else. You can even, your town you don't like, move to another town. You don't have to be forced to be there or do something about it while you're in that place. If you're in that state and you care that much about it and you don't want to leave, then you stand up and do something about it. You make a stink about it. You make the change. Don't wait for someone else to do it. You'll be waiting all day. Don't go on Facebook and say blah, 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 blah. And repost something. And that's what got me really on a tizzy last couple of days is the reposting of incorrect information. Most of these people I see will repost something said by someone else. Okay? I guarantee they don't back check it. They don't see, well, let me see if this is true first before I repost it. Of course not. You just hit repost. I guarantee because a lot of times, a lot of that stuff is very, very non factual. It's incorrect or it's skewed in such a way that makes it sound like a certain way. You should be the person to call that person out. If you're going to post something or repost something, put your 2 cents into it. Tell me what you think about it. Don't just post it because someone posted it. A lot of these reposts that some people ain't never even heard of before. News sources or online sources that no one's ever heard of before. This is what we're getting. It's unbelievable. It's ridiculous. Have your own mind. Stop being a minion. All these minions out there on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube just reposting garbage and not doing the homework. You're a minion. You're not doing anything. You're not changing anything. You're virtual signaling. Oh, I'm into this too. But you don't even show what you're into because you just reposted something that's 100% not factual. That's incorrect. Spreading the fake news, if you will, I guess you could say. You're part of the problem. Be a solution. Don't be part of the problem. See that post? Do your homework, give your own opinion on it, and do something about it. And that's all we can ask for. What do you think? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. You can reach me. You know how to reach me. Leave your comments. Leave your opinions. I'm curious what you think on this problem of mental illness. I think this is something that a lot of people can agree on both sides of the aisle. Maybe we can figure out a way that we can set up, the idea of mental hospitals and mental institutions have a bad flavor in a lot of people's mouth because they weren't done correctly. They were abused. People were abused in them. The system was abused. There was a lot of conspiracies, a lot of weird stuff going on. No control. No one overlooking these things, right? Which is not good. Which kind of leads to the reason why we probably don't have these things anymore, right? So let's not do that. Okay? Let's change it. Let's do something. Let's reach out to our political leaders out there and be like, we need to fix the mental illness problem in this country. Whether it's get rid of social media altogether, which I think is a huge problem in this, or we are able to somehow tone it down a bit with all these things you can do. And again, you're dancing with the, First Amendment right there too. So you're dancing fine lines of all this stuff, right? And you want to make sure you still have your freedoms and you don't want them taken away, but you also want to make sure that you're safe at the same time. And it's a really, really tough. It's a real, real gray area to be playing in, And the best way is if you see something, say something. That's all you can do, right? Until they can figure out to help these mentally ill people, get them off the streets, get them into a place where they can have some therapy, non-medicated therapy, maybe someone just to talk to. Protect them from themselves. Protect them from acting out. Whether it's some kind of low-skill incarceration or some kind of hospital in which they can get care for. It's something we should look into as a society, and I think we'll fix a lot of our problems. And for those who have no empathy out there in the social media world for something that happens, someone has no empathy for someone who passes away and only sees them for one thing and not for other things. And then when something bad happens, no, it's not about that situation at that point in time. If you care so deeply about the school shooting that happened at the same time that happened when Charlie Kirk died, then post about the school shooting. You didn't, though. All you posted was all these people are talking about him. No one's talking about the school shooting. You can talk about the school shooting. There you go. I'm inviting you to. Have fun. You post about it. Don't post about Charlie Kirk. Post about the school shooting. Let us be aware of the situations happening. But those aren't going to stop until we nip it in the bud, the problem while these people are doing this. And it's the same pattern all the time. You look at it, all these people fit the same characteristic. It's like, it's basically like central casting for these people. They all look the same. They all have the same mental ability. Everything's almost alike about them. They're red flags. And we all know people who are similar to this. That could be red flags in life soon, right? You know what I mean? So, be better as a society. God bless you all. Go home, love your children, hug them, get some family members. Do love, show love and compassion for one another as humans. We're all the same. You don't agree with someone politically? Talk to them if you're that interested. Why do you think that way? Why do you think things should be done that way? Just ask them with an open mind. And more importantly, listen. Listen to what they have to say. And they should do the same to you. And then you can give them. And maybe at the end of the day, you agree to disagree, which is fine. You could still live in a socialized society and not agree 100% with anyone. There are people who are married that don't agree on 100% of everything, but they're not getting divorced every day. Listen. Speak to your fellow human. Instead of yelling at them for preaching something, say, oh, why do you think? Next time you see someone post something about whatever that maybe you don't agree on, send them a side comment. Say, I seen your post, and I'm curious why you think that way. Can you give me some examples? Can you help me understand how you're looking at this? Because I don't look at it the same way, and I want to see your perspective on it. And I think if we do that as humans and as a society, we would be way better off. There'd be no fighting. There'd be no people arguing with strangers online. Why do you think that way? Just ask them that. Nice and simple. And that'll tell you if they really think and feel this way or they're just virtual signaling and reposting something. Because if they don't have an answer, you know the answer right there. They're full of shit. And they're just showing off to all their friends and family members. Well, I believe in this. You don't believe in this. You're just virtual signaling. That's all you're doing. That's helping no one. So my homework for you guys this week is when you see something that you may disagree with or you're confused about or you don't understand that someone posts, I want you to side message them. You don't have to do it in the public. You don't have to do it on their thread. You don't have to do it so other people can see. In fact, don't do it. It's better that way. You send them a little message on the side, like, hey, I just seen you post about X, Y, and Z. I'm very curious why you think this way. And see if they give you an answer. Because you can have two right answers. So, there you go. Thank you guys for watching this first episode of the 84 show. Leave your comments below. Please like, please subscribe to the Masshole Sports Network because we'll be here every week talking about whatever's on the news for the week. And we're eventually going to have some guests. We're going to have some people on. And it's going to be a very interactive, fun show. And at some point, we are going to go live on this. So stand by for all that good stuff. So thank you guys for watching. Love you all. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. And we'll see you guys next Friday. Thank you guys. Bye.